Welcome travelers, ciao travelers. Today we are going to Brazil. So I should say bon dia. Remember to subscribe and like, and feel free to share. I've been getting requests, so request at GEOMIK122. And one of the requests I got were for Brazil. And before we start, let's get into our trivia. Okay, let's see. Okay, which is the only U.S. state to begin with the letter L? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Louisiana. Actually, when I teach geography for Louisiana, I said, look for the state. It's actually in the shape of an L too. Okay, the capital of Western Australia shares its name with which Scottish city? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Perth. Perth is one of the most isolated cities in the world. What that means is that for another major city, it's very, very far away. All right, let's do another one. We're at it. This was a previous podcast. In which country would you find Mount Fuji? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is Japan. Okay. All right, got that done. And now we're gonna get into our podcast. So I'm using this book again. All right, it is Epic Drives Around the World by Lonely Planet. When I was a kid, I used to love this. I would go to like the bookstore and I would buy travel guides. That's what I read. I really didn't read much else. Okay, so this is called Driving Down Brazil's Costa Verde. That means green coast. Lush rainforest, postcard perfect beaches, pristine colonial villages, wild tropical islands. The Costa Verde cradles paradise along the most scenic stretch of Brazil's trans-coastal highway. So we're going in between Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. So what's cool about this is a part of Brazil that a lot of people don't visit. So just so we got it, you start in Rio de Janeiro and end in Santos. It's 345 miles. It's probably like 6 hours in total. Yeah, so it is going to be an exciting ride. Okay, so I had to start by Googling how to say something in Portuguese. I don't know Portuguese. So we'll get to that. Okay. With the urban sprawl of Rio de Janeiro firmly in the rearview mirror, the lush coastline along the storied BR 101 comes into focus just outside Itaqua, the last bastion of civilization before concrete blocks and snarling traffic yield to mountainous rainforests tumbling into the sea and land below. Okay. Okay, so it's a windy highway, and I guess it will compare to like California's coastal highway. That's how I'm comparing it to. Okay, so let's get into this. So we are going to start, our first place is going to be Agradoris, 80-mile stretch of coastline, 2 hours north of Parachi. I Google that. Mostly used as a jumping off point for the Ilha Grande, a vast island Eden that's both a backpacker's heaven and a playground for rich and famous. Party yachts surrounding the sea. I'm going to go for the rich and famous instead of backpacking. All right, best avoid this drive in the rainiest seasons, months January and April. So don't go that time. All right, so the UNESCO World Heritage listed village of Parachi, 150 miles or so into the drive, is the perfect pit stop. So UNESCO is this organization that preserves and promotes historical sites. So it's pretty cool that's on one. All right. Parachi, a living museum of seaside Portuguese colonial homes with multi-hued trim and lattice windows and century-old churches set against a backdrop of steep jungled mountains, is a cinematic place suited for 2 feet. Well, I don't know how many feet. I guess most of us have 2. Pure fairy tale, It's the center of the most staunchly preserved patches of colonial history in Brazil. Okay, also found something else that's not in the book, but I did find something else that you could do while you're there. Okay, and I do like hiking and walking, mostly walking, let's be honest. I like to run, but walking is my forte, is my jam. Okay, so I had to look on here. So there's something called the Gold Trail. So just like how California gold was discovered, gold was a big reason why people from Europe came to explore to find gold and wealth. So they found it in 1696. And they used to export the gold to Rio de Janeiro, and from there it would go to Portugal. So this is an old trail that was used to connect the mines to the towns. And it is 1,200 kilometer road. Let's see what that is in miles. Let's see, 1,200. All right, wow, geez. 746 miles, 746 miles on and. That would be a decimal point. Okay, so they did use the trail, but eventually it was getting raided and attacked, so they had to change their route, so they created another road. But finally, the gold itself began to run out in the late 18th century, and Parachi declined. So that's something you could do, is walk along the trail. Sounds very relaxing, something I would do. Okay, let's get back into this. Okay, I set my satnav for a small fishing village called Pichinguaba. Not much more than a few ramshackle beach abodes where fishermen have tucked themselves for centuries, clinging to a hillside that gives away to almost a 5-mile beach. It's home to a refuge that has charming inns and has small hotels that you can enjoy. All right, so there's a lot of wildlife there. So let's see what we got here. Look, the beaches look really nice. So this is a Michelin star hotel that is mentioned. It's a Poseida Pichinguaba. That's the hotel. It is pricey. It is $374 a night, $423 with taxes. It got a 4.3 on Google, and usually I'm a 4.5 and above kind of guy. But I mean, I guess it's worthwhile to try. So they mentioned that. Resort. Okay. So now we're going to another gorgeous island, 73 miles from Pichinguaba, and it's called Ilhabela. I guess the Isle of Beauty. And again, this is another preserved colonial town. And it's a 15-minute channel crossing away. Okay, and these are really great places to not only enjoy the beach, but you can do diving, you can do snorkeling. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do there, and also surfing. Okay. So these beach getaways are for Sao Paulo's bold and beautiful. So follow as the coast winds up to Santos, a pleasant city known for Pelé. So he was a real big soccer star. And he played, and he was really, really an icon for Brazil. I guess still is. And you can actually go see the museum all about that. Okay. So then, when you're done with that, you can enjoy the city of Santos. So Santos kind of looks like a typical resort town. It kind of, like you'll see in the pictures, looks like Rio. And it's a good place to vacation where locals are. So I always find that more exciting is to visit those cities that are less visited by tourists and more visited by locals, because you get more of a feel of the country and the people. All right, so This was a little short. I mean, the content stuff, but now we're getting into what I really enjoy, which is food. So, you know, Brazil is a lot like the United States in the sense of it's a very, very diverse, dynamic country. So you have obviously pre-colonial history, colonial history, and then most recent history. And it all shows in their food. It's a mix of African, European, indigenous. So it really comes out in the food and it's tasty. So I know a lot of people know Brazilian as like that steak that, you know, they have like different meats and you put a little green card for more and red for less, but there's more to that. So I wanted to research food that is known in this area. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of seafood. So fresh fish and seafood are common here. Sample the moqueca, a tasty seafood stew with coconut milk, tomatoes, and spices. You'll see the picture, it looks yummy. Another local favorite is Praia Azul Marinho, a blue-tinted fish made with banana. Again, that tropical theme. And for those who prefer meat, try feijoada. The filling black bean and pork stew is often seen as Brazil's signature dish. And plant-based eaters have plenty of choices too, with dishes featuring local fruits, veggies, and mandioca or cassava, or I know it as yuca, so I love fried yuca. I put it up there. And it's really, really delicious. I will say, when I mention to people traveling to Brazil, their number one concern is safety. So that's something to think about. I probably for Brazil would do a guided tour because it's such a big country. That's just me. So that's always something you want to think about when you're traveling is, do you want a guided tour? Do you want to be on your own? It's your comfort level and budget. Okay. So before we go, let's get into some trivia. Okay. Which of the 7 wonders of the ancient world is the only one to remain largely intact? That means, you know, together, it didn't get demolished. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this is really interesting. I was actually talking about this because my friends and I were doing a 40th in Europe. I'm not going to say the country until after, but I love croissant. So which city did they originate from? And this is interesting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vienna. So before French food got popular and like, you know, the go-to, a lot of the people in France trained in Vienna. So Vienna is known for chocolate, cakes, and desserts. So just a fun fact, Vienna was known for that before Paris. Okay. Native to Australia, what is the name of the second largest bird in the world? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it is an emu. Okay. Well, thank you. Please subscribe, like, please feel free to share. New episodes come out every second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of the month. Just remember, if you know your geography, you know anyone, so study up. Ciao, ciao.